It was one of those crisp autumn weekends in Vermont when college friends decide to escape the city for a little adventure. 5 of them, backpacks stuffed, phones charged, well, most of them, and a vague idea of getting lost in nature. They had rented an old cabin deep in the Green Mountains, a place the owner had called off-grid, which they thought sounded thrilling. The first day was easy. Hiking trails, campfires, and laughter echoing through the trees. But by the second night, the wind had picked up. The pines creaked like bones under pressure, and a thick fog rolled in, so dense it swallowed the moonlight whole. One of the friends, Eric, had gone to gather firewood and didn't return. Initially, they thought he was just playing a prank. But as minutes stretched into an hour, panic started to creep in. Sarah, the most cautious of the group, suggested they search. Flashlights in hand, the fog gnawed at their confidence. Every shadow was a potential threat. They found Eric near the creek, standing completely still, eyes wide, staring at something across the water. I saw him," he whispered. "A man, or maybe not, just watching." No one was there. The rest of the night passed in tense silence. But the next morning, footprints led from the creek into the dense forest, larger than any humans, dragging into the shadows. Phones lost signal. The GPS app flickered and died. They realized slowly that this part of Vermont didn't just feel isolated. It was isolated. By the second night, the cabin itself seemed alive. Doors would creak open on their own. Footsteps upstairs when no one had gone up. The fog outside thickened, and every time someone tried to leave, something made them stop. Maybe fear. Something else. Eric admitted he saw a figure every time he looked outside. A tall man in tattered clothes, face hidden, standing between trees and just watching. He would vanish if they blinked. Eventually, they decided to leave at first light. But the path back was wrong somehow. Trails twisted, trees rearranged themselves, and a low hum filled the air, a sound that felt almost alive. Panic set in fully when they realized they were walking in a circle. The same creek, the same fog, the same unseen watcher. The story ends with them calling 911 from a strange clearing, voices trembling as the operator confirmed that no cabin had been registered in that area for decades, and that several hikers had disappeared there over the years. Story 2. The Forgotten Motel. It started as a road trip through Arizona. Jake and his younger brother, Tyler, had been driving for hours on Route 66, chasing sunsets and a little freedom from their small-town lives. Gas stations were sparse, and the sun was dipping below the desert horizon when they realized they needed a place to sleep. That's when they saw it, a dilapidated motel sign swinging in the wind. Vacancy, it claimed in faded neon letters. Jake hesitated. Everything about it screamed abandoned, but Tyler convinced him. "Come on, it's just one night," he said, laughing nervously. The motel office was empty. Dust covered the counter, and the registration book looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. Still, the door to room 6 was unlocked. The brothers dropped their bags, thinking they'd find another place in the morning. That night, sleep didn't come easy. The air was cold, unnaturally so. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like footsteps pacing just outside their door. Tyler swore he heard whispers, but when Jake shined his flashlight into the hallway, nothing moved. At 2:17 a.m., the sound stopped, and then started again, only louder. Doors slamming, something dragging across the floor, and a low, guttural moan that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Jake checked the window. The parking lot was empty, except for a car. Rusted, old, parked too close to the entrance. The driver's seat was empty, but the engine was running. "Maybe someone lives here," Tyler whispered. "Maybe it's, I don't know, a groundskeeper." Jake nodded, trying to convince himself, until a shadow appeared at the window. Tall, thin, head cocked to one side. Not moving, just watching. And then it vanished. By morning, the motel seemed almost normal. The sun had burned off the chill, and the desert looked harmless again. They laughed it off, packed their bags, and went to pay. The office was gone. No counter, no registration book, nothing. Just a key on the floor labeled Room 6. Confused, Jake tried to call for help. No signal. Google Maps insisted they were still on the highway, but the road looked different somehow. Narrower, twisting back on itself. They drove. Hours passed. No gas stations. No towns. Only the desert stretching endlessly. And then, in the distance, the same motel sign appeared, swinging in the wind. Vacancy, flickering weakly. Jake stopped the car. Tyler screamed. From every window, dozens of pale faces stared at them. Eyes hollow, mouths open in silent screams. They tried to leave, but the car wouldn't start. The engine sputtered, died. And that's when the whispers returned. Dozens of voices, low and frantic, coming from the empty parking lot. They ran into the desert, sun burning their backs, sand in their eyes. But no matter how far they went, the motel reappeared, closer each time they looked back. And the whispers grew louder, chanting something they couldn't understand, but somehow understood. Years later, a hiker found the car abandoned on Route 66, doors wide open, keys still in the ignition. Jake and Tyler were never found. Some say the motel is still out there, hidden, waiting for travelers who are too tired, too lost, or too trusting to see the danger before it's too late. That's it for today on The Black Hour. Thank you for joining me, for stepping into the shadows, and for trusting me to guide you through the stories that linger long after the lights go out. Remember, this isn't just a podcast. It's a place where the unknown waits, where mysteries hide, and where your curiosity is the only light you need. I'm your host, your name. Stay alert, stay curious, and never forget, some things are watching, even when you think they're gone.